What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with Joe's Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. And I'm joined again by my man Smoke Freezy to talk about some random sports topics. Leading it off, I want to make sure I pronounce this cat's name right. What is Ohtani? What's that pronounce his first name for me?
Don't give me the line about the man's name. I just know he gets
Shohei
busy.
Ohtani. You know what's crazy? I should know how to pronounce this dude's name. And I
He's
should
your
have did my
way.
Googles. What you say?
He's around your way.
He is not around my way, man. Uh, I am 6 hours from 6 hours from
Didn't he play
Los
Anaheim?
Angeles.
Did he play for the Angels at one point?
He
That's your
played for the
way.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which they stole their name because they wanted to get some of the hoopla from the Dodgers. So they went with Los Angeles. So they were the Los Angeles Dodgers. So they went with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And they're like, oh, we don't have the same name as you. It's like McDowell's and McDonald's. It's slightly different. You have World Series wins and history, and we have better uniforms. Like that's what they brought to the table.
Okay.
Shohani Otani. I'm gonna go with that. I know that's not how you pronounce this dude's name. And I feel like
Ooh.
a clown for messing it up. Otani, though, his interpreter got caught in a gambling scandal. Are you familiar at all
He
with
gripped
any of
him
this?
for 4 million.
Say again?
He gripped him for $4 million.
Yeah. And well, you say gripped him, I say he followed orders. But we'll give just the facts right now. He's going to
Okay,
plead
fair enough.
guilty. It says right now he's negotiating to plead guilty to theft in the gambling scandal. Uh, Lord. The former, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, former translator embroiled in the gambling scandal presently gripping Major League Baseball, is negotiating to
Mm,
plead guilty to multiple federal, that's the key word there, federal crimes related to the scandal. The investigation
mm.
reportedly being co-led by the IRS, my former employer, Criminal Division, the Department of Homeland Security, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for Central District of California.
Let me say, it's not a good look because that's your main guy, Otani. $700
Well,
million. That's not a good look. That was his man. And he gripped him for $4 million. It was like, this is for my
so
gambling debts.
you don't believe Otani had any knowledge of what was going on?
He had to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had to. If you
Like
don't
they
know
over in the dugout speaking
if you
Japanese to
don't
each
know
other.
4 million is gone, like if you're that reckless where you don't know 4 million is out of there, and I know it's different. I know it's Japan. I know he's
But
not
bro, they
paying
just
him.
gave him $700 million.
Yeah, but this
Like,
this happened before he signed with the Dodgers. This happened
okay.
before he signed with the Dodgers.
Oh,
So
okay.
if
So they've
if
been investigating the whole time.
well, he's being investigated for gambling with a bookkeeper in California. And basically, they were investigating the bookkeeper, which led them to the interpreter, which led them to Otani, which led it big news to come out. My thing is though, where I'm struggling with is we just saw a brother in the NBA for the Raptors, Porter. He's going to be banned for life because he literally bet on himself and he impacted the game to win bets. It
Mm,
seems like baseball, no one ever gambles on themselves, allegedly. It seems like in baseball,
that's
no
not
one
true.
ever.
Pete Rose, he was betting on himself.
I was just about to say but with Pete Rose, he swore up and down he never bet on the Reds. I never bet on the Reds. I never bet on the Reds. Never bet on the Reds. 10 years
Oh,
later, we
yeah.
found out he bet on the Reds. So,
He
am
was
I to
betting
believe
on them to win, though.
was
It wasn't like he
allegedly,
was betting on them to win
allegedly,
or lose.
allegedly? We don't know that for sure. We don't
That's
know
what
that
he
for certain.
that's
We
what
don't
he
know.
says. And he's been out of
Yeah,
the league forever, and he can't even get back in the league. But not because of what he did. I think because nobody likes Pete Rose because he's a juice bag.
nah. There's a lot of those in Major League. There's a lot of those in sports. I mean, he can't get in the Hall of Fame. There's a guy right now that should be in the Hall of Fame that's got a very important, very popular podcast. We can talk about that. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas is a
Yeah.
Hall of Fame player. Gilbert Arenas is a
Is
Hall
it?
of Fame player.
How
He
many
should be in
chips
the
has he
Hall of
won?
Fame. Doesn't matter.
It
Doesn't
does.
matter. No, it doesn't. I didn't say he should be in the lead room, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. He
Nah, I
should be in the
disagree.
Hall of Fame. Nevertheless, man,
Why? Why?
because he was a tremendous player. And the
What?
metrics
He hasn't
that
won no
same thing for
chips.
Pete Russell. Same role with Pete Russell. Pete Russell. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame also. But here's my thing about Otani. I want to go back. We're venturing off. I
Okay,
want to go
okay.
back to Otani. My issue with Otani is this. Am I to believe that he had no idea this was going on?
That's what they want you to believe. That's what the MLB wants you to believe. But I can't believe he wouldn't know after he's in his pocket for 4 million, and he wouldn't know anything about his gambling.
And he lost 4 million, right?
Yeah,
So he didn't know 4 million was missing.
no,
Come
that's
on,
what they
man.
want you to believe.
Come
Huh?
on, man. Come on,
That's what
man.
they want you to believe.
Baseball
Those you have.
dudes never. So it's like baseball dudes always. They're like this is a bad analogy. I won't say it's a bad analogy, but it's a naughty analogy. Baseball dudes are like the virgin who says, "Well, I've never had traditional sex, but I've done this." Like, dude,
Mm,
you gambled on baseball. You gambled on pitching. You gambled on hitting. You gambled on spreads. You gambled on wins. You gambled on losses. But you never bet on yourself. Like
bro,
you never said, "Oh, I like my chances against this pitcher." Who you fooling, man? Come on, man. Racial slur, please. Like, come on, man.
I don't know how he's in a pot in a hole for 4 million. Like if someone else's money over.
Well, he's good. He Gucci. He gonna walk away clean. Could you imagine if an NFL player did this? Could you imagine if an NFL player bet on it? Like, let's put it in perspective. So Otani is like one of the greatest athletes in the world, pitching, hitting,
Unbelievable.
yeah, unbelievable talent. Just signed with one of the most recognizable staple sports franchises with the Dodgers. So this is big. This is big ish. Could you imagine
Huge.
if Dak Prescott and I'm not trying to drag Dak into it. Let me leave Dak's name out of this. I think it's somebody else.
Zach
Could you imagine
Prescott.
if Tom Brady bet on himself or bet on a football game while he was playing? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine the backlash and the uproar if a football player did this? But because
Tom
it's
Brady.
baseball, because it's
Tom Brady
baseball,
could be doing it all wrong. That's
yeah.
what
But
how
I'm
it would
just
be to
saying,
do with
like,
football.
think about that. Russell Wilson bet on base, or if a basketball player bet on games. They're banning a dude that's not even a record. But like, if a top flight basketball player did this is insane, man. Look, if you want my opinion, which you do if you're watching, I think Otani needs to sit down until they find out everything. I think
I kind of
if the
agree.
rules are you can't gamble, if those are the rules, whether you like the rules or not, they're the rules. I don't think we should have front license plates on cars, but we do. So mine is going, I get stopped. That's the rules. By the letter of the law, until everything is done, I think he needs to sit down because there's
I don't
obviously
think
some
they're
issues
going to do
there.
that though,
They're not going to do
because
it. He's
they
the
got
biggest face in baseball right now. Biggest
yeah
face in
they
baseball. Not going to happen. No
yeah
shot.
right
No shot of
nothing.
him sitting down. But
No.
and one of the classes I had, this is like they were really into this big gambling thing, and they were saying how it's a bad move, and sports are gonna regret it. And I said I don't agree. I feel like there's too much money to be had, too much money to be made for the leagues to turn a blind eye to. Too much opportunity there. Second thing is you'll find out. If a player's involved, you'll find out. Now, is it going to interrupt the integrity of the game? UConn Iowa game where they called that ridiculous moving screen and it essentially sealed the deal for Caitlin Clark to play for another championship. Did that
Mm,
interrupt the integrity of the game? Because that was a
mm.
bad call. That was a bad call.
Integrity of the game.
Yeah, kind of flimsy and the windy there, baby. I don't
Yeah.
I don't believe in the integrity of the game because I believe you're gonna win. You're gonna win. The sport itself will win out because players will decide the game. Even if you're doing things like spreads and stuff like that, that's inconsequential. But players will decide the wins and losses. So I don't worry about integrity of the game. But I do. I think Ohtani needs to sit down. I feel like
That's kind of
it's too
fair. It's too
close to
much
home.
money.
It's too close, and 4 million ain't like $40. You know what I mean? It just,
That's
like I
what I'm
don't care if
saying.
you got,
Like,
I don't care if you got
he,
700 because there's tax implications to that.
right, right.
And I'm not gonna put my
But
IRS hat
he's
on.
he's from another country, so that adds another element to me that
Does
we
it
don't
really?
really. Yeah, because it seems like on that country they will be down like to do something like that. They don't have the the off rails like we have in our country as far as trying to be moral
Not to
about it.
be moral.
The guardrails. They don't have the guardrails.
They
I
don't
don't
have the
know.
moral. They don't have the moral fiber or alleged moral fiber that we have.
I don't know that to be true, but it seems like them jokers be gambling it up, boy. That's a part of their technique.
So the NBA is embracing gambling. This sets a bad precedent. And the fact that he's trying to plead guilty, that means the handlers got to him and said, look, you got to take this. You got to take this one for the team. Remember years ago, Chris Carter was at an NFL rookie symposium and he said to you guys, he said to you top draft picks, you guys that are really good, you guys that a lot of money, you got to have a fall guy. You got to have a guy that when it hits the fan, he's ready to take the charges.
Yeah,
And he
yeah, yeah.
knows that's his role. He knows that his family will be taken care of, but he's going to have to take them charges and have to sit down. I feel like this is what the interpreter is doing right now. He's taking a
I
hit for
do
the
too.
team.
I do
He's
too.
taking it. And this way, if he pleads guilty, closed case, Tony gets to go play for the Dodgers. The Dodgers will once again fall short of a World Series, but that's neither here nor there. But they win the
That is
offseason
true.
championship. They win the offseason championship every year, 10 years running, it feels like. I I think there's more to the story. Me thinks there's more to the story, but the way that baseball just navigates this stuff, like it's nothing. The way they move, like they move like they got permanent grease, chicken grease on them. Nobody can grab them. Barry Bonds not
Mm.
in the Hall of Fame. Are you kidding me? Roger Clemens not in the Hall of Fame. Really, my man? Like, really? That's the whole steroid era. We're not going to talk about that. The lack of diversity with the major league manager. We're not going to talk about that. The fact that it's 2024 and we have like 1% diversity, we're not going to talk about that. It's
Mm.
like, come on, man. They move with a complete autonomy, like it's nothing. And this is just another example of that, man. The dude closest to you took 4 mil. You know nothing. You know nothing. He's being investigated by Homeland Security. Hold on, check that. Your man, so he's the man next to the man next to the man next to the man that supplied you. So you're telling me that the man that's next to the man that your man is checking out is being investigated by Homeland Security, the feds, the IRS, and you know nothing? Come on, man. Get out of here with that.
He knows something was going on. They speaking in Japanese in the
Even
dugout.
if he does, even let's really just speak in Japanese. Let's say he knows it doesn't matter. It's too close. You gotta sit him down. You gotta sit him down. He has to sit down for something. More than anything, because there's gotta be a lesson to everybody else. You gotta set that precedent. Watch the company you keep. I repeat, could you imagine if this was in the NFL? This was Tom Brady. If this was Russell Wilson, if this was Trevor Lawrence, you know what?
Mm.
Ohtani doesn't win any championships, so he's not on the par of a Patrick Mahomes. But let's say this was Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Could you imagine the outroar, the
It would
outcry?
be
Like
it would be
he,
crazy.
he's got to sit down, man. That's just my opinion. He's got to sit down, and Major League Baseball got to make an example of him. Now, you're in the you're into the hippity hop thing.
Well, I wanted to say something like that because you're saying the interpreter was the fall guy. And I'm thinking Shine was the fall guy for Puffy back in the day.
Yep.
He shot the woman in the face and was like, "Shy, take that, take that, take that." Like, if you ever shoot somebody in the face, I'm like, "Hey, bro."
Yo, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, man. My father told me once, be loyal to a point, not to a fault.
Yeah,
My loyalty ends when them jail bars come around. I ain't going to jail for nobody. I ain't going to jail to visit a dude. Like, I'm not going to jail for anybody. You will take, well, pause. I mean, for my offspring, I'll take that time. But anybody else, I got all five fingers pointing at you. You shouldn't have
yeah.
did it then. You shouldn't have did it.
But look what happened though. Fast forward to today, Sean been out of prison for about 10 years by now.
Yeah,
And
he's a
Puffy,
political figure, right?
right, in the Belize, now Puffy is like, yo, you remember when you did that for me back in the day? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna move my drugs through Belize and I'm gonna give you a lot of money. So this is what
We
I'm
know for a fact that's what Diddy did.
this is the speculation.
All right,
It's
all right. Let me put some
speculation.
context. All right, okay, I got you. Let me put some context in this whole Diddy thing because it frustrates me. It frustrates me.
Yeah,
First of
I'm
all,
like done with
let
done
let
with
let
all the
let's address. Let's
activity.
just kind of gloss over the trafficking. Rich dudes pay women to be at their disposal. That's common. But by the letter of the law, that's sex trafficking.
But you would think you got money, you don't have to pay women
What?
like that. You would think.
You don't pay for the woman, you're paying for the convenience. You're paying for the she knows what she's coming for, she knows what she's supposed to do, she knows what the role is. You guys have a connection. That's all it is.
I just don't like that whole. It just seems nasty, weird. You got all
But here's
these
the
random people around, and
but
only
Diddy's not asking for your permission. Diddy's not asking for anybody's permission. He's not bothering anybody. Like he ticked the wrong person off. He
I
ticked
just
the
think
wrong
it's a
person
nasty
off.
situation. Like
I
that
don't think
whole
it's I
nah,
don't think
man,
it's a nasty situation because it's none of
wicked
my
man.
business.
It's wicked, man. It's none of my business, but why do I know about it? It's not
Because you
my
read
fault.
page six.
It's
Stop
not
reading
my
page
fault.
six.
It's
Read
all up
page
and down
five.
my algorithm.
Read page five. You get caught. I don't. When I got kind of the context of what happened, and I get an understanding of what he's been, because you hear sex trafficking, you instantly think, you know, you think of what not Dateline NBC shows you sex trafficking is. That's what you think Diddy's doing, and then you find out that what actually happened is he had four women that were on a payroll that he was like, yo, I like you. I want to take you shopping. I want to party with you. So here's X amount of dollars a month. But when I call you, you need to be over here ready to rock and roll. Okay, I got you, daddy. That's how that worked. I feel like it's none of my business.
I just think that's bad on both ends. From Puffy doing
Are we
that to a
playing
woman.
moral fighter though? Like who are we judge? Who are we to judge? Like the devil was an angel too. Like who are we? You know
Well,
what I mean?
I'm only who I am, so I could look at that and see that that's not a good look. I don't like that. It's not a good look, bro. It's
One of
kind of
my
filthy.
favorite movies of all time is 40-Year-Old Virgin. He said, and when the lady when so they come in to the because I said I won the movie. I can't remember anybody's name right there. She comes in, the
Steve
guy's
Carell.
fiance, and she says, so you wrote this? She looks like she's hurting for a squirting. Like you're never going to get a woman like this. And he said, hold up, back up off me. Who are you to make me my judge and jury? You don't know me. And
Yeah.
that's what this is. Like, back up off of Diddy. Who are we to be his judge and jury? I don't want to know. I want to know. I want to know.
I don't want
Okay.
to know either, but I'm finding out like
Don't send me the
indirectly.
emails, the videos, the secret recordings. I don't want to know. I don't want them in my algorithms. I don't want to know. Diddy has been weird and into stuff I haven't been into since Ready to Die. back in
When he
'94.
said, when Biggie was like, my first thought was a trick. You look so good, huh? I sucked on you. And I'm just like, Big,
Lyrics hit different now that you're older. Like
yeah,
there's two things. So I'm in the barbershop, right? And it was like they were talking about Meek Will. And my barber said, yo, he says, I watched the video of him and Diddy. And he was like, you seen it? I said, I refuse to watch something like that. I have
you
no
don't want
desire
to
to watch
know, bro.
that. Said, I don't want to know. He said, man, I'm a Meek. He's like, I like Meek Mill, but them hollers hit different now. The act, they feel different now. And I was like, yo, everything
Oh,
hits
man.
different now.
Yeah, for
Everything
real.
is
For real.
different now with Diddy. Just like going back to the baseball thing. I mean, I hate to bring it back to sports, but that's what I do. It's like in one league, we banning people for betting on themselves because they got caught. Like, are we banning them for being stupid? Or are we
Mm,
banning them for gambling? Because in other league in the NFL, they banning people for playing fantasy football for
mm.
seasons. But in baseball, they like, yo, you take the hit, you good. That doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, he's too close in proximity to not have to sit down.
Right, right, right.
Roger Goodell suspends people in the NFL for 6 games for stuff they haven't even been charged with. Just because, yo, you stupid, sit down. I didn't touch her. And you never should have been in the bar anyway. Sit down. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, it just seems that in Major League Baseball, they move with complete autonomy and it's okay. You know, and we were talking about Diddy, speaking about hip
Well, you
hop.
kind of know why. You kind of know why. Know why. We all know why.
We know why Ohtani gets to move like he gets to move. Tell me.
Baseball, MLB baseball.
So baseball's like that. Then they get up. Man, tell your kids to play baseball. Everybody want to play football. Man, play baseball. Their
Baseball,
contracts are bigger. There's a
baseball is the way
bigger,
to go.
there's a bigger, not discrepancy. There's a larger gap between the highest paid and lowest paid, but you get lifetime health insurance. You know, football players don't get lifetime health insurance.
I did not know that. I thought that was what that movie with Will Smith was about. You know, the
Tell the
concussion.
truth. Tell the truth. Yeah, they don't. That was about CTE, but
Yeah, they
man, the
don't have
NFL. So I'm gonna tell you something about that movie. So
NFL. I don't know,
the
bro.
NFL is the NFL is a they're a female dog, boy. They'll put it that way. The NFL is a big, nasty female dog. The
Well, you know
NFL,
what,
so
Colin Kaepernick, that's why I kind of like pulled off on the NFL a lot.
yeah, I cooled off on the NFL, but then my Eagles got Jalen Hurts, so I'm back, baby. But
Well, I
so
mean, I'm still like low key mediocre on the NFL. I'm
no,
glad we
I'm
won the
always
chip.
gonna rock with the NFL because it's a double edged sword. Like you, so with the CTE thing, they were doing payouts, right? They were paying white players more than they were paying black players. And they were saying that because white players were smarter, so they lost more cognizance. Their cognitive skills were lost more because black players weren't as smart. So insurance
Mm,
companies were paying the white players more, previous
mm.
former players more than they were paying the black players. And if you don't believe me, you can Google that. That's
I'm
the
gonna check out the
NFL. But
movie.
the flip side of that, the NFL has made so many black millionaires, you can't turn around and say they're racist. Or can you?
Well, what's a millionaire? Like, you know, thinking about the a million to them is like a little bit because they're dealing
Doesn't
in,
matter.
in
They've created
billions of dollars.
generational wealth in so many communities. They've made so many people of color wealthy millionaires. You know, it doesn't matter to you.
Really?
Like people, yeah, the
You
NFL
saw
has done that.
Broke? You
Yeah,
saw
but
that movie
dude,
Broke?
that's a small fragment
The
of the
show.
population. That's a small amount of people. Have you
Well, you
seen
think
like
they're independently wealthy by playing football?
yes,
I don't
there's
know.
so many players. There's so many players that right now have generational wealth because they play professional football. Now, are there players that run through their money? Of course, because they're in their 20s.
But
You
there's
know,
not very many that make that much money. There's a lot, but
that's
not
not
that.
true. That's not true. What's much money? What's much money to you?
Over 10 million,
See, I disagree with that. And I'm gonna put it in perspective. Caitlin Clark
20
was
million.
offered. Caitlin Clark was offered $5 million by the big three, right? The average salary for a rookie, the rookie average salary in the WNBA is 74,000. So people were like, "Oh, that's not a lot of money." And I said, "Wait a minute, $75,000 is not a lot of money."
That's good money.
Exactly. So an NFL player,
Well,
let's
you
look at
don't know
Fletcher
what it,
Cox. Hold on, let's look at Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is probably banked in cash on hand about $10 million. That's not generational wealth.
yes, but he's also all pro, all star, all everything. But
Okay, well,
what about the Emmanuel Achos of the world? He's got to do a
Emmanuel
podcast.
Achos probably made about 800 to $900,000 in his career. That's not wealth.
No, it's not.
You you don't believe
Because you
800?
got to have that for the rest of your life.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's a starting block for you to do other things. See, I'm
Mm.
glad you said that. That's not. You don't have to like you don't get to sit on your butt even if you made 10 million, that you don't sit around for the rest of your life. You invest that back into yourself. The 800K that he made, and let's say, I'll look and see how much Emmanuel Acho's net worth. Well, that's
I
going to be
agree.
skewed
It's
by
a lot. It's a
Fox.
good springboard, but at the end of the day, that's not
It's a
making you
springboard. Hold on. It's a springboard
independently
for
wealthy.
6 years of your life in your 20s. So you've got the rest of your life. You can go back to school. Think about this. You can go back to school, get your master's, go get a job, and make 150K, never have to get a student loan, never have to borrow a dollar, have a brand new start on something better than cash, credit, because you don't have to borrow anything. You can pay everything. You can buy property.
That's in an idealistic world, but
What do you mean
these
that's
jokers
in the
around
real
30 years
world?
old, they don't they don't have the a lot of times they don't have the financial education to make that
But
money
you're talking
last.
about isolated situations. That's not the norm. That's not the norm. For instance, you'll see a
I
lot
don't
of
know
when
what the
black
norm
you
is.
you hear a lot of times when black players get drafted, they talk about they got to take care of their families and they got to take care, you know, they got to take care of their niece, their aunts, mothers, whatever. When you
Yeah.
hear white players get drafted, you don't hear about them taking care of their family,
No.
right? So
Yeah.
to say that all players do one thing and all players do another, that's not true. It's really a cultural thing. It's really cultural, in some cases, isolated situations. Now, use the manual ultra. I'll do you one better. We can go with a guy like William Fuller. Probably don't remember William Fuller. Played
I
9 years
do.
in the league,
D-line,
played for
99,
the Eagles. We can go to Hugh Douglas. You know what I mean? He played for a few years, played for the Eagles, played for the Jets. They
53.
played for the Jaguars. Those dudes made more than enough money in their 20s and early 30s where they can pick and choose the career they want to do and not have to worry about, and how am I going to support my family? Not have to worry about, is this going to pay the bills? And they also have disposable income where they can get into investments.
Hmm.
I think that people look at athletes and say, oh, well, going back to Caitlin Clark, $74,000 isn't a lot of money. It is.
Yeah.
And it's a
It's
lot.
not like you getting paid like Kobe.
And but it's a lot of money to do something that you love to do too. Don't ever forget that. Because people always say if you're doing what you love, doesn't matter how much you make. You'll
Yeah.
do it for free. How many weekend warriors go to LA Fitness or 24-hour fitness or the blacktop and go hoop on the weekends for free? Them brothers go in debt between the sneakers, the clothes, the gas,
The
the
jury.
drinks to go hoop. They do that for
Right.
free. You get 75K. Nah, man. I think athletes are paid handsomely and they earn every dollar of it, especially the great ones that show the discipline and not just playing the game, but what they do off the field as far as their diet, their nutrition, their workout, their regimens, to getting to bed at a decent hour every morning. You know what I mean? The sacrifices they make and missing out on their family. I think they're worth
Oh,
every
it's
bit.
24/7. They
Yeah,
got to be
it's
on it
24/7.
24/7.
It drives me crazy when people say like Kobe, like Drake said, Kobe's my man. He about to lose 400 M's. I wish it wasn't him. She wasn't with him shooting in the gym. She may not have been there in the gym, but he could be in the gym because she was home with the kids and she was making
Mm.
sure stuff got done. Like the contributions that go into being great, yes, they're worth that money. So if you're a B-list, C-list player and your contribution to the team is minimal, but you walk away with 200, 300 grand and you played 4 years of football, dude, you got a great lease on life. And in some
Yeah,
cases, it's
but
scholarships.
what if you leave the league without any health care? Or you said they don't have any health insurance in the league.
Yeah,
You
mostly
got
football
bum
players, mostly
knees,
professional
you
football players
got
don't
bum
have health
back,
insurance.
you need surgery, and after that, after taxes, you're done. You're pretty much before you got drafted.
Well, they have claims for that, but yeah, there are people that are living that truth, and that's unfortunate. I hate to sound cold and callous, but everything costs, and you made a decision to pursue that sport. I mean, look at
Who
Kenny
was
Smith's
that?
knees.
Byron Evans. The Eagles offered Byron Evans a contract. He was like, "Nah, I want more money." He goes out to Arizona and he
It was out
blows
his
his
knee.
knee out. Yeah,
It was
and
out his
it's
knee.
like,
But what was the wide
and he's out of
receiver?
the league.
What was the wide receiver that was in Green Bay that wanted? Forget his name. He was due for a contract. Uh, Javon Walker, I think his name was. He was in Green Bay. We got about 2 minutes left, but he was in Green Bay. He was up for a new contract, and he was holding out. And Brett Favre killed him publicly. It's like he needs to be here. The money will take care of itself. Do your job on your contract. He comes out, and in like week 3, blows out his knee. Never plays another game in the end. I think he played. I want to say he played in Denver for like a half a season or so. Never got the
Mm-hmm.
money that he was looking for. I mean, there's
Mm.
always that story, but you know the risk when you step on the field, when you step on the lines, you're risking it all for that moment. So,
That's why I'm
again,
like, play baseball is more safer.
you can play baseball, but you could have injuries in baseball too. There's injuries that is not as frequent, but
Yeah, but the
160,
the the concussion with football, if you get your bell rung, and if you play football, you're gonna get your bell
yeah,
rung.
yeah.
Period.
And you're gonna pay the price for it. But you don't get to the professional ranks without playing in Pop Warner, without playing in high school, and without playing in college. So you've had all
Yeah.
those opportunities to transition to a different sport or to find something else to do with your life. There's a football player that is a neosurgeon right now at Oxford. He went to Florida State. I want to say
Mm.
Byron Allen, something like that. He's a neurosurgeon. He doesn't play football anymore. There are a lot of dudes that say, I don't want to play football anymore. So,
What
it
about the
happens.
guy that's coming out in the draft was like, "Yo, I want to be a firefighter," and he
Well, he
doesn't
can
know
go
if he's going,
he can go
huh?
be a firefighter. Ain't nobody stopping him from running into burning buildings. We gotta wrap it up, D. That we less than a minute. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you like, subscribe to whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And as always, we appreciate your time and
Make
energy,
sure you
D.
like. Peace.